Hello, we're back again. Oh gosh, feeling much better. I cannot believe the difference it's made now that I've got my house in order. I've got this almost like this structural frame. Like I'm like, okay, now I can, it's like kind of fitting yourself in these boxes. And yeah, it's like laying out the template for you to actually start building. This leads us to the next phase of get our shit together. And this feels like a long time coming and it's so wild. I was just thinking, like, now that I've done this exercise, I've done this practice, why did it take me so long to really do it? And I feel like I have been doing it the last few weeks, like here, there, whatever. But when you're at a, I don't know, I don't want to use the same terms, but when you're at like a low vibrational state, low frequency, low self esteem, whatever it is, it takes courage to call in the reality that you want, your desired reality. I finally felt like, okay, now it's time. It's time to gain clarity of the life that we want, who we want to be, who is this highest version of ourselves. I don't know, I feel like it sounds so cringe, like when you say it out loud like that, but I think it's so important to gain clarity of who you want to be, who you who you want to be, where you're going, and what is the life that you want for yourself. And for a long time, I just couldn't gain clarity. Like I think majority of my 20s, I was just figuring it out. You know, I always say I feel like I've lived like seven lives until now, and it's good. You get a taste of like what you like, what you don't like, what works, what doesn't work for you, and then you come to a what's that word? Road work, crossroads. You come to a crossroads. It's like okay, there's no more excuses. There's no more procrastination. It's like okay, where do you actually want to go now? We need to take a step forward, and you know, there's and then as a result for you to get to the point for you to make the first move in that direction, it's so easy to kind of get into these like forms of procrastination or I don't know, or yeah, just delaying the inevitable. I never know how to say that word. God, I need to I need to work on my pronunciation. But I think sometimes it's a matter of finding the courage. And we can only do the best with the tools that we have. And especially like for a long time, I knew because I literally was voicing it out. Like I did my own lights. I wasn't taking those big risks or stepping out of my comfort zone. And where I had gotten so used to it, but I think my nervous system just wanted to be safe, but to the point it was to my detriment, where I was too safe, too comfortable. Like even though like the comfort brought me, it wasn't like it was bringing me good feelings. Like I was so infuriated or frustrated with the current reality, but like it's the devil that we know basically, and we can hear all the information, we can hear everyone giving us the right wisdom, but until you do the inner work, until you face yourself, until you go inwards and stop searching, seeking externally outside of you, then you're always going to be just delaying what's for you. And with that comes the fear of unknown, it comes with like uncertainty, it comes with it's been how long since I've left my job? It's like nearly coming out to a month. And since I've left in the last few weeks, I've just been like it's been up and down in terms of how I felt, the momentum I was building, like feeling confident and feeling low, then da da da. But I knew that I had to do the work. I have to go inwards. I have to address what I'm feeling, what's coming up. And we like even if we think work is productive, that it can be a form of distraction. Um, and I was using this job as a form of distraction because it was kind of like this punching bag, like, oh, because of this work, I can't really focus on building the life that I want and, following my dreams and da da da. There's always some reason. Oh, I hate my commute. Gets me in a shit state. And it's actually like when that's subtracted from your life, you have to confront yourself. And it was like, I made a promise that I'm not going to just jump into another job. Like the way we take power, control of our lives is like, I think I started really deeping is that one is all mindset. I've been spending a lot of time working on my mindset because I realized I was in such a negative spiral. Like I was so triggered, so charged. And so when you're unconscious for so long, you don't even realize what's the word? what you're projecting externally, because I know we've heard it a million times, and this is why the work is never done. You have to always be working yourself. You have to always be working your mindset, spiritually, emotionally, mentally. And like, I take responsibility. Like, I know when I stop, like, it's at this trajectory. You're, I think it's Atomic Habits, where it talks about you're always either becoming 1% better or 1% worse. And it's true. Like, whether you like it or not, we got to do the work. And when you see this, sometimes things are out of control. You can't take all responsibility of what happens to you, but you can take charge of how you react and what you do about it. So I was like, you know what, I'm done. Like, I think when you go unconscious, you start to think, what am I doing to contribute to the reality that I'm creating, right? I don't like this role, this job that I'm doing. I'm working at a low level entry because that's all I've known, right? Is you stick to what's comfortable. And I'm glad it served its purpose. It served its purpose in the sense that it got me to a breaking point. I was like, it was so soul sucking in a sense of like, I just knew I had so much more to give, to offer, and I wasn't living up to my fullest potential. So the universe, the world, you know, God, whoever, like, it literally had to get me out of this environment. And I was like, I'm gonna be conscious of what am I complaining about? What can I do differently? And stop giving more energy to what I don't want, if that makes sense. So yeah, I had to face some hard truths about myself and where I was, it's not easy taking responsibility. Like, the easy thing is to complain, to blame others, to, you know, like, it's, life's happening to you. It's not your fault, whatever. But at some point you get sick of your shit. Like, you're like, nothing's changing. And you have to hit the point where you're like, you're the only one who can save yourself. And as much as you say it, it's really a matter of like putting it into practice. But sometimes our inner strength is not there because, you know, I think what really hit the point for me was like, the more I was learning, the more I was, confronting things. And I love reading books at a certain point of when you feel aligned or called to understand yourself more. And psycho cybernetics really helps. Maybe I've mentioned other videos, but like, he kind of addresses why, we may have the best intentions, but why we can't go forward and act on it. And I realized, like, why we start to like literally self-sabotage, or like we just hit like a block basically, and we kind of self-destruct or go back to what we've known. And he talks about this based on like the identity that we've created. So that, honestly, like, when you start to free your mind, the more you bring the unconscious to conscious, like, the more you can literally start to move forward. And it's so wild. So as a result of that, I started to find I was giving myself more grace and being more kinder and more loving. And I realized like how self-critical I was. Like, they always say, like, speak to yourself the way you speak to your friend, to your best friend or whatever. You would never like say, I hope, like, I hope we won't say half the shit we would say that we say to ourselves to other people. But I realized like I was being so mean. My hair is super greasy, so like I could have, I really could have chose a better day to do this recording. But we have to act on momentum. It's never going to be a perfect. It's never going to be a perfect moment. But greasy, greasy. But anyways, I saw a video and it was like being hard on yourself or being self-critical or like being like, oh, you've got to do better. Like, kind of giving that David Goggins style will get you up your ass and actually get on to do things. But actually, like, when you condemn yourself, when you're horrible, when you're mean, is that I personally don't feel like it does much. Like, I think when I don't show the love to myself, I'm like, ugh, I don't know, I just feel so low. And that's when I learned about like our frequency. We have like a frequency scale, and I found that so fascinating. And self condemnation or guilt, or I shared a really great video on that, like around guilt. That was literally the breakthrough that I needed, and the shift that has made sense on like how I'm showing up on a day-to-day basis. On a day-to-day basis, is like night and day. But yeah, as I was saying, like, we have this frequency level of where we're vibrating at, and so I just became really conscious of it. But I think that's the other track that takes us, which I'm so grateful for. Neuro Knowledge, his YouTube channel, he's amazing. Like, please check him out because he's thoroughly helped me move so much in a space of just a few days. Honestly, like, he simplifies things so easily, so like simple that you just digest it like within a matter of seconds. You're like, whoa, okay. And the level of peace and calm that I've had since watching him is amazing. So highly recommend binge watching his stuff. But he does stress on the fact, like, it's important to integrate it. You don't want to just be consuming all your stuff. Sorry, I'm kind of like, I have so many points. I started with like an intent in mind of where this video is going, but I'm going to have to trust the flow of what I'm speaking and just, yeah, speak on the flow. Like, some people have a script structure, but I guess it's just not me. Nero basically touches on the point that I shared about, these spiritual teachers who kind of share their message about, vibrate, like raising your vibration, being at a high frequency, like, you're never going to be just at high. You're going to be high, you're going to be up, down, and it can be in a space of a day, it can be in a space of an hour, whatever. That's just life. It's a matter of like how you bring yourself out of it and showing yourself some grace. Like, life is not perfect, so don't expect yourself to be, and put yourself at like unrealistic bar standard for you to reach, because yeah, like that's again because when you're doing that, you're gonna condemn yourself of when you're not. So that, I thought, when he shared that, honestly, I feel like it erased years of feeling guilt of like, why am I not doing my best? And I think especially in self-development journey, like, it's so easy to feel like you got to be your best version of, you got to like, you got to be living this amazing life, doing all the right things, having all the best habits, and and you can never fail. Like, you set such a high standard for yourself, which is great, but sometimes we trip up, sometimes we're not. And one thing that I loved that like he shared was basically saying like, we all, you need to visit it, you need to watch this video. But he basically said like, he shared something around of the standards we have for ourselves, and like he was talking about, oh, you don't have to be holier than thou, that kind of person, or I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't I'm so spiritual, I eat this, and I do this meditation, I do that, like all the rituals, etc., etc. You don't have to do that. Like, it's a matter of like, when I'm resharing this, it's also a matter of me remembering what I've learnt. So I'm trying to remember in terms of exactly word for what he said, but I have to just absorb and trust my knowledge. What is right for me is going to be different to someone else. And if I choose like, oh no, by me living in a certain way or doing certain things is like not beneficial, then that's, anyway. I don't feel like I did a great job of like sharing his message there. Watch his videos, but just want to say it helped massively, taking away all that inner guilt and feeling of like feeling pressed for time. You always feel like, oh my god, I'm not exactly where I want to be. I've got to do more. I've got to do this. And what was another like light bulb moment? Yeah, honestly, I feel like these videos are just going to be all about praising Nero's Nero's knowledge. But in terms of manifestation, I thought it was so fascinating. He touched on certain points, like, if you're never at peace with your current reality, or you're like not grateful, or you're unsatisfied, or you're just like, you are so emotion charged about not having what you don't have, and like, you're always in that state of I want, it's always going to be far away from you. And I realized like, shit, he's so on point with that, because I've always thought like, because I've moved back to my parents' home, I'm always focusing on the lack. And even prior to moving back home, for a long time I was hyper focused on the lack, which explains the downward spiral of like the trajectory of my life. And again, it's because it's so, you go into autopilot, it goes unconscious. You don't realize until stuff like this. And even now, I'm always thinking about like, what's around the corner, what am I going to have, like, my dream life, this and that and that. But I'm not really truly like appreciating the present moment. And his message is basically saying like, all you have is this present moment. Like, if you believe you don't have it, then you don't have it. And like, you can only have more of what you do have. I think he said it like that. Like, and I think it just clicked so much, because like, damn, it's so true. Like, again, when you're grateful for what you do have, you just bring more of that. God gives you more of what you do have, like blesses you. I think he shared that Bible verse, which was so on point. And when you can focus on, oh, I don't have this, oh, I don't have that, this is missing, or that, you're just, without even realizing, you're manifesting that reality, and you're associating that emotion for it to be so charged around the reality that you don't have. And you're really deep. I was like, crap. Again, taking full responsibility. Like, this is all my doing. And how sad. Because even when I was in my desired reality, I didn't fully enjoy it, appreciate it. I did until I didn't. Hence, you know, the universe, life gives you exactly what you keep saying. To the point that I came back to what was my default of what I had ever known or was familiar or what my nervous system felt safe in, whether I liked it or not. That's the moment I was like, oh my gosh, that's wild. That's wild. And I think to get me to this point, I've really had to like coax. Is that the right word? Coax. I really had to like nurture myself to feel safe, to feel comfortable, like to take it one step forward at a time. Do you know what I mean? Like, and get back into that good feeling states, to work on myself, to trust myself, to visualize again, to bring in the reality that I want. And it's not necessarily like, again, I don't want to say want because it kind of makes you feel like it makes it sound or feel like you don't have. But the more grateful I am for my space, and I really, truly, genuinely, thanks to Nero, like I feel like I have so much gratitude for where I'm at this point in time. I feel like I can see more clearly. I enjoy my day to day, and that's a godsend, honestly, especially during this journey. And when I've been in this vibrational state, or like when I think about in the past, it's so crazy how quickly jump reality. And I think when you kind of in another video that really stood out to me, one last mention about him. Basically, he talks about, when you're always saying, oh, in God's timing, or in the future, or da da da, like when it's meant to be, it's always going to be when it's meant to be. And since I've adopted those terms and phrases, I felt like everything's always been kind of like out of control, like in the future kind of thing. And actually, life happens to those who go and make it happen. Like, I just don't really need to marinate that one. Life happens to those who go to make it happen. And instead of waiting at home for the right time, for the perfect time, for things to be set in its place, or someone, or Prince Charming, I don't know, no, I'm not expecting a guy, but like for opportunities to come knocking at my door, I have to position, place, plant the seed. I've got to do it, right? And it's not to say like God, God works with you, but you have to put your hand on the wheel as well. Like you've got to put your foot on the pedal. And I just thought, shit, in order for you to collapse time, just bring it into this reality. Do you know what I mean? Actually take the step to just act on your ideal reality, right? Sure, it might work, it might not work, but the more you do it, the closer you get to it, right? And it sounds so simplified, but it's so profound as well. It's like, I think when you're always like kind of thinking of it, oh, it's a far-fetched goal, it's always going to feel like that. But when I moved to Mexico, when I started living my dream life, it was just based on a decision we felt in the time and made it happen. Like, sure, in divine timing, I started, the process happened with like, I started to be true to myself and be like, this is what I want. This is the kind of life I want to live. This is the lifestyle that I want. Start visualize, picturing it, how I'd feel, associating that good feeling, and then detaching from it, not forcing it, living my own life, making the most with the reality that you have, making the most of the situation you have, making the most with what God's given you, because there is always something to be grateful for. There's always something to work with, to make the most of. And then when I was like in that elevated state, and honestly, I felt amazing way before I even left to go to Mexico. This is how you start drawing in the reality that you want, the people that's meant to be in your life. And sure, I met my ex, shared my dreams, and out of a moment, you act on decision. But I think this is what I'm trying to like use the same blueprint with now. And it's like finding that courage again, coming out that negative mentality state of like victim mentality or life's happening to you, taking responsibility, believe in yourself, and also like this radical act of self-love. And I think I kind of punished myself for it because I felt guilt again. Another low frequency on the scale. It's quite low on this. It's a low vibration on the scale, and I felt guilty that, you know, because of my happiness, because of my selfish desires, as I kind of got myself to believe, I felt bad, like that I was the root of someone else's sadness, right? And I'm, you know, like, end of the day, it's my life. Like, I can't, like, you can't be responsible for other people's happiness, right? But because I had been in that state for so long, I've forgotten how to take myself out of it. And now I realize, like, at the end of the day, it's my life to live. I can only be the best to people around me if I'm serving myself and being true to myself, right? Also, like, another thing that he touched, okay, last one, is to be unapologetically yourself. And the reason why I was able to act on all my dream desired reality is because I was projecting all those traits basically to get there. But yeah, long story cut short, now I feel like I've kind of put into action all the stuff that I had to do in terms of my mindset, emotionally as well. It's like mental, heart as well, and emotional. I just felt like I don't know what, it was such a weird funk for so long. Like, how do I describe it? It just felt nothing's enough. Like when you're alone with yourself, it's just such a shit feeling because you know you're not living your true, fullest potential, and you know that sense of betrayal is within you. And then when you kind of start to overcome it, feel it, let it pass through you, then you're like, okay, you know, oh, another thing that I had to do was forgiveness. Oh my god, I had to forgive myself, but also forgive the people around me and make peace and acceptance. So that was another part of the work for me to get to this stage of to gain clarity. And I think once you're doing the work, and also I've been doing the Artist Way. I'm looking for that book, Julia Cameron, right? I think. I'll put the link in the description. I've been doing her work, and I'm on week 3 now, and I think it's recovering a sense of power. I think that's the third chapter, I believe, and it's so amazing in terms of alignment, like the timing of things is falling all into place. And I know for a long time I felt dysregulated, out of alignment. Things were just feeling like with force. But now I'm just like, things are coming together. I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like you're starting to unblock these. It's like this road that you're on. It's like these obstacles are now like opening up. You're walking through it, and it's such a crazy mental thing, isn't it? But and then you get to a point where like I'm starting to even dream. Oh my gosh, I haven't been able to remember my dreams in the longest time. In the longest time. Now I can vividly feel them, like see them. I literally wake up from my dream because I'm like, well, that was so intense. That was so like it felt so real. And some people say like, I don't know. Some people say when you go to sleep, your consciousness kind of comes out of you and goes into that realm. So I don't know if there's truth. Like, you know, they say like we live in this multiverse and there's so many different realities playing out because it genuinely feels so real. It's been so bizarre in the last few week anyway. And then in the meantime, I've just been like not forcing it, just anything that I felt called. I've been acting on what act on what you feel called to do. I think that's another way to build self trust as well, to connect with your inner knowing, your inner intuition. It's like when you feel inspired, you have these ideas, don't let it pass you, act on it. And like I'm building that muscle again. It's literally like going to the gym, building a muscle. And the more I do it, the more I'm just feeling like it's like as Nero says, I'm not even going to take credit for like where credit's due. I'm going to give it to him. Like he literally says, he talks about manifestation a lot. Watch his videos around that. But when you're in that frequency, then you start taking you feel these little nudges, little, you know, feelings telling you take this, go this way, go that way, do this, da, 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 and then you get to your desired reality. And therefore I've been just having these visions. It's been kind of like imagine you're watching this like blurry movie and it's getting clearer and clearer and clearer over time. So long-winded to get to this point, but honestly, it's a process, and I feel like I have been doing it along the way. So this is where I'm at. It's like I need to gain clarity of the direction that I'm going, because kind of leaving up to God, or or um whatever happens happens, like you need a sense of direction. and and I think it takes courage to kind of do that. And I don't know why I'm like hesitating as I'm doing this, because it's probably me knowing that I need to take responsibility of my life and it's time. Okay. I got as crystal clear as I could do in terms of my desired highest version of me. Like, what would the best self, my dream desired version of me be doing? What's her life that she's living? And I feel like throughout the last few weeks I've just been very self-observant, self-aware, going inwards. Like I've been having little glimpses and actually just portraying. I literally put pen to paper, but wrote down what she does, how does she act, what kind of woman she is, so what kind of woman I am, like from her traits to her personality to her beliefs to her relationships to her friendships to her lifestyle, her career, you know. And what would have felt so like far-fetched and out of reach, now I'm like, it feels within reach. Like it genuinely feels like I know it's I know I know it's mine. I know it's coming. I know it's meant to be, because I'm a true believer. Like God places desires on your heart because he knows you're capable of achieving them. It's for you. That's why only you have those certain desires. What I dream about, you know, think about, whatever, other people, you may not ever even think about it. And I don't know, I'm getting all choked up over that, because it's sad when you realize like you're the only one who's holding yourself back. So that's what I did today. And I got as crystal clear. And at first I was enjoying it, and then I was getting a little bit choked up. I don't know why. Well, like, we don't need to self-analyze. It's interesting when I observe it. And yeah, you need that GPS, because then from that state, when you know like that's what you want, then you can start taking the right direction, steps to the path that you're going, instead of like, oh, I could do this, or I could do that. Like, there's only so much time and energy you have to do everything in life, and you don't. Like, and it's gonna just slow you down anyways. So it's been great. I'm not gonna knock it off. If you feel called to just kind of like do this, do that, do as you please. But now I'm at a point where I'm like, I have this clear vision, this idea at the very least of like what my life is meant to look like. And I just want to get there. And of course, like, I'm not here to know the how, but I know that along the way I'll get these nudges. Trust my inner knowing, intuition will tell me where to go, but I have to have the courage to act on it and take the next step forward.